Good Monday afternoon, everyone. As we look to our farm and ranch news, we see that Montana agriculture groups are applauding U.S. Senators Jon Tester and Steve Daines for co-sponsoring federal legislation introduced in the Senate last week to ratify the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes Water Compact. Senator Daines says the centuries-old dispute benefits all Montanans.
The Montana Water Rights Protection Act will permanently eliminate almost all of CSKT's water claim rights across Montana, saving taxpayers over $400 million, and gives all water users across Montana protection and certainty.
Now the legislation settles other long-standing legal claims between the tribe and the federal government. Now it also provides federal funding for the restructure of the Flathead irrigation project and transfers responsibility for the operation of the National Bison Range from federal government operations to the tribes. The compact was opposed by a handful of conservative groups, and the water deal did see a majority of agriculture groups in the state support it, including Farm Bureau, Farmers Union, stock growers, and wool growers. The Montana Farm Bureau says that if Congress fails to ratify the compact, it would result in the need to litigate thousands of claims across the state of Montana in the Montana Water Court. In other news now, both China and the U.S. officials have confirmed last week that they have reached a Phase 1 agreement. President Trump announced that the U.S. would cancel its next round of tariffs on Chinese goods that were scheduled to go into effect over the weekend. Via Twitter, Trump announced the White House will leave 25% tariffs on $250 billion in imports in place, while also cutting existing duties on another $120 billion in goods. Beijing will increase its agriculture purchases from the U.S. by a significant amount, though Chinese officials did not say by how much. Some of the details include China giving up its restrictions on growth hormones in beef and easing an approval process for genetically modified crops. Don't go too far. We'll have more right after this. Well, last week, USDA released the latest World Egg Supply and Demand Estimates report, and the outlook for the 2019-20 U.S. wheat shows decreased supplies, higher exports, and lower ending stocks. U.S. wheat exports were raised 25 million bushels to 975 million on a strong pace to date. More competitive prices and reduced supplies from several major competitors being some of those factors. Wheat imports are lowered 15 million bushels, and the global outlook for wheat this month is for several mostly offsetting production changes, slightly lower global use and trade, and increased ending stocks. For wheat prices, the season average farm price has lowered a nickel per bushel to $4.55 based on NASS prices to date and expectations of cash and futures prices for the remainder of the market year. Now let's look to the meat side of that World Egg Supply and Demand Estimates report. For 2020, the total red meat and poultry forecast has increased from last month as higher broiler production more than offsets a lower beef production forecast. Beef imports for 2019 and 20 are raised from last month on trade data to date and expectations that demand for processing grade beef will remain strong. Exports for 2020 are lowered to reflect a slightly weaker pace for sales. The forecast for 2020 is unchanged, while the forecast for the fourth quarter for prices in 2020 is stronger, and that should carry on into 2020. Well, friends, that's all the time we have for today. Have a great day, everyone.